Hello, everyone. High Evolutionary is he's finally here. You should have, I was like a little kid at Christmas. Whenever I saw that the update was coming, I couldn't contain my smile, my excitement. This is one of the most hyped cards, and I think he creates a few different archetypes. And so with High Evolutionary, he's going to unlock the abilities of your abilityless card. So your Wasp, your Cyclops, Abomination, Thing, Hulk, Shocker, a few others. I think I missed maybe one in there somewhere. But with that comes a few different archetypes. I think some people are going to mash all of them together, and I don't think that's where he's going to be efficient. Some people are going to lean in on like the reduction from Shocker and the ability to grow with Hulk, and I think that one's going to be good. I think that one has a lot of potential, a lot of upside. But things like Wave, cards like Storm, Spider-Man, Professor X exist, and I think that's going to really prohibit that style of the archetype. And then the last one that you can lean in on is an Affliction style. So there's the reduction, there's the all-in, and then there's an Affliction style. Whether you're trying to cap out the opponent's board with junk like Debris, like Green Goblin, and then capping that out and then leaving your cards that are going to negatively afflict the opponent in that lane to win it later, you can do that. Or my first impression, what I think is going to be incredibly competitive, at least while everyone else is kind of filling out how High Evolutionary plays. This is going to protect you from wave plays. This is going to protect you from lane lockdowns and a few other things as well. But that is going to be a control-heavy High Evolutionary build. So with this control version, it's very similar. It has the same core package as our previous control builds, and that is Nebula, Storm, Spider-Man, and Professor X. Those are like your core. That is what you're going to use to really restrict where and how the opponent can play on the final turn. Sometimes you're going to restrict every single lane. Sometimes you're going to restrict 2 out of the 3, and then they're not going to be able to have enough into those lanes to win by the time it comes down to that last turn. And we get an upgrade in this style in our Cyclops and our Wasp, and sometimes Thing. With our Cyclops, it's very similar to parking a Nebula into a lockdown lane. You're going to be able to continually get value in that lane every single turn. So if you do Storm into a Cyclops, he's immediately going to impact the cards that they have in that lane with -2. Every turn that you have additional energy remaining, he's going to hit it with another -2. So if you do that for turns 4, 5, and 6, that is an extra +6 power. Technically -6 power to them, but +6 on the spread for you in that lane that has been locked down since turn 4. And so then a Cyclops becomes a 3/10, which is absolutely wild. Just it's insane if you kind of break it down into what value he provided over the course of the game. And of course, one of the biggest deficits for me for a control list for the longest time was that last turn play. A lot of times you want to do, or you could do Doctor Doom, because by using your Storm, your Spider-Man, your Professor X, you're giving up a lot of tempo, a lot of value. But with this version, we dropped the Doctor Doom and we went with the Hulk. With this deck, we're typically going to float energy for about 4 out of the 6 turns in the game. And so Hulk a lot of times is going to slam on the board on the last turn as an Infinite. After you were able to do a Spider-Man or a Professor X on turn 5, you're going to be able to slam 20 power on the board on the final turn. If you have your Wasp as well, then it can be 23 or so, which is wild. We have Abomination, but honestly, Abomination felt a little bit clunky in this. I may end up cutting him for another low cost like Daredevil to get a little bit more early tempo, but then that's going to encourage you to use all of your energy each turn a little bit more often. And so then that's going to take away the high roll of your Hulk, your Cyclops, and some of those other cards. And so I do think there's a little bit of tweaking that can be done to this one, but overall it felt fantastic. I ran it against pretty much every other High Evolutionary deck that I could fathom is being made right now, and we were able to win against every single deck that we faced except for a discard deck. Discard deck has the unique ability of being able to be played into a Storm lane, and then your Cyclops is ineffective because anything that is done to that Dracula is reset and overridden at the end of the game. But overall, I'm so excited for this card. It will take some time to figure out how he truly fits into the meta and how impactful that's going to be, but off of my preliminary games, he feels fantastic. Let's go ahead and jump over into a couple of games. I hope you guys enjoy. Oh my gosh, that was beautiful. Oh no, and then it was ruined. Oh no, that was an immediate super gratification into just regret with the peak. Oh no. And we may be going against a bot. The Steam client just updated, Got him. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. All right, let's go ahead and do... Actually, I'm going to do Storm into the Savage Land. That's going to allow us to play Cyclops there. And every single time that we end our turn with unspent energy, it's going to afflict them with negative power. So even after this is locked down, we should be we should be fine. And so, if you drag it out and then pull it back, it loses that orange glow around it. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and lock in the Cyclops. And then we're looking to okay, the Shang-Chi is not going to do it for him. And we already have the lead, but if they happen to go wide or do anything like that, it's not gonna help them. So I'm gonna go ahead and actually let's play Jeff into the peak. I think that's gonna be the easiest one for us to overtake. We can do Jeff in the peak. That will allow Cyclops to hit here. If we draw into Abomination, perfect. And it's gonna use his laser to shoot him a couple times. And then we're gonna afflict 2 random enemy cards here with -1 power. Let's go ahead and snap. We're going to do Spider-Man. Lock in this lane. Next turn, we can do a Wasp. And actually, a Wasp and Hulk is going to be even better, even though this got inverted and it went way down in efficiency. Oh, well, the Wasp is gone. We can still do the Hulk next turn, which is just fine. We don't have to we don't have to worry about it. Cyclops is going to continue to just unleash havoc on that middle lane. And then we do have he would be 18 power had he not been inverted, I believe. Right? Because he started at 6, and so he gained an extra 6. It's nuts. We're going to go ahead and play the Hulk here. I think that should be enough to get us there, unless they have some way to go wide. Or maybe an arrow. An arrow could do it, realistically, but... we had to build this one up for so long that I am so excited to play the High Evolutionary. We will take the quick and easy 2 cubes. Let's jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have Neutral Milk, and we do get our Abomination. This is actually, I've only played a handful of games with him. A few were against bots, but I've only played a few games with him, and I haven't seen Abomination just yet. All of the other animations are so satisfying. Negative zone. So that is an immediate affliction. So any kind of negative effect on the cards out on the board for the opponent is going to count as an affliction. And so we could realistically play Wasp and reduce them even further, but I think we're going to start with Jeff. We don't have any of our other lockdown components. We have Spider-Man. But we do, I think, need something a little bit better than that. And so they play Space Stone and Time Stone. They're going to have, 4 energy this turn? Trying not to be too excited. I waited for what I feel like was way too long. So I'm trying not to be too excited. Let's go ahead. I think we storm... I think we're going to storm Asgard. I thought about storming Fisk Tower, but whoa, wait. They destroy the Reality Stone by moving into Fisk Tower? Interesting. I thought about storming that location, but I'm glad I didn't. Oh, they have Cyclops. They have High Evolutionary as well, but they threw it into a Thanos build. And so we have the Cyclops here now to help us reduce the cost of our Abomination. So we don't have initiative, which is great. We're gonna end this round with extra energy. Wasp is also going to afflict 2 random cards here, so Time Stone and whatever else they play, and so that should bring Abomination down to 3. I think almost immediately. They play an Abomination. We should have that residual bonus, that residual power effect that will allow us to swing that location, which is beautiful, by the way. Such a beautiful thing. So we have the thing now. Let's go ahead. We're gonna Spider-Man lock the left lane. That gives us the ability for Cyclops to hit here again, reduce them even further. Now, if they have a loot cage, It's unfortunate. That's just going to be, it is what it is. They play Shocker, which looks like they're going with the full High Evolutionary package, which I think it really splits neatly into a few different builds. The reduction build for like a Moon Girl, a Zoo style deck, and then something like an Affliction build where you want to either restrict the opponent or you have something to really lean in really heavily into those games. But we do get the 1 cube retreat. Let's go ahead and we will take it. These animations are all so beautiful. I am so excited. They were seeing how long we could wait with high anticipation before he came out. So we're gonna go ahead and take the 1 cube. Let's jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have Blade. The first location is Kiln, which really feeds into our control heavy. Oh, and I feel like everybody that we're gonna face today, that's a human player, is gonna be running High Evolutionary, which is phenomenal. It was so hyped, and we had to wait for so long that everyone is. I for one am excited that he's here. I'm gonna go ahead and Storm in Mindscape. Next turn we can do Cyclops, and that will get us the reduction. So we're gonna end with extra energy that will buff up our Hulk. And so they have the Misty Knight and the Shocker, so they may be going with a different style of High Evolutionary build. They could be going with the All-In, which I don't recommend. You get so many cool abilities, but I don't think they mesh or intertwine incredibly well together. So let's go with, this location is going to be stormed. Let's go, honestly, I think we're going to go for the Kiln location. This is going to be 5 energy, but it's going to be a -4 power onto them, and they may compete for this middle flooded location. We also have Jeff to get that little bit of additional reach. And on next turn, and I would snap, but this is High Evolutionary. This is brand new to the game. I want them to be able to try it out. I want us to be able to try it out. Next turn, we're going to be able to Spider-Man lock the Murder World location, and they're not going to be able to play on the final turn. And so, unless they get some continual Affliction style, so they do have things. So I'm wondering if maybe they have Abomination or something similar. But we are going to win the left lane. They have the Shocker. The card cost reduction, I think, is incredible for like Moon Girl, doubling down maybe alongside like She-Hulk, depending on what Shocker hits, but I don't think it is applicable to every style of build. Part of me wants to not play Nebula, but the other part says that that's going to be a 3-power resource that we'll get next turn. Wow, so they have a Hulk early, so their Shocker hit the Hulk, which is massive for them. So if they skip next turn, he goes up to 18 power, so he can continue to grow as well. And so can we beat the 18 power? I don't know. It's going to be 6... 7, 8, 9 because of the reduction, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That brings us up to 18. Gosh, that's close. That brings us up to 18. He goes up to 18 because he's going to have extra energy this turn. And so then it comes down to a point differential to figure out who wins, and they're going to win this one. I'm going to go ahead and let it go through. But that Hulk, that Shocker hitting Hulk was massive. Massive. And so we're going to go to 13. They're going to grow. Oh, actually, I did my math wrong. Wait, did they not? Did he not get buffed up? Because it was 16. This brought him down to 13. That brought him up. Oh, wait. I think that's a bug. I think they should have won that one. It wouldn't have even been a tiebreaker because Misty Knight hit it. But with his ongoing ability, say +2 power for each turn you ended. Oh, you ended. So it's past tense. So that's not necessarily intuitive to how I would assume that it works. I would assume that since it's ongoing, when he's on the board, if I absorb extra energy on a following turn, he would continue to grow. So interesting that that's how that interaction worked. We will go ahead and take the 2 cubes. I thought we were going to lose that one, and I was just being good guy Gary, going to go ahead and end the game, and we ended up winning it. I apologize, Blade. You deserved that win. We're going to go ahead and take it and jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have Demian DE. The first location is Grand Central. So it's going to pull into one of our resources, maybe Hulk. High Evolutionary is probably pretty much just a dead card, though. We have the Thing. A little bit clunky, but it's decent following a Storm turn. Maybe sometimes if we don't have that ideal lock with like a Spider-Man, we can use it on turn 5. We still don't get any of our low cost. We have so many... We have so many cards we could use by now, and we may not be able to... I guess we could do Cyclops on turn 3. All right, and so we do get Storm, which is going to be incredibly interesting. Sanctum Sanctorum is already locked down, so let's go ahead and... I'm not going to let them cheat anything out on the board. We're going to change Grand Central. We're feeling pretty confident. With a Spider-Man lock on 5 into 6 and them not being able to play on that final turn, it really starts restricting them very, very heavily. So they have Scorpion, probably to lean in on their High Evolutionary, I would imagine. Let's go ahead and I'm going to do Cyclops here for a couple of reasons. Since this happens at the end of the turn, it will still affect whatever they play, even though we have priority. It will help our Hulk grow, and the thing, since it's on reveal, since we reveal first, it wouldn't have any targets to hit. So Cyclops is definitely the go-to for me here. Wasp is okay. Hulk is fantastic for that like in-game burst, but this is really like the pinnacle. And so let's go ahead. They have this. Luckily, we have the Cyclops here. That's going to be able to continue to grow over time, and we're going to be able to get so much value there. And so after we end this turn with extra energy, we're going to reduce this down to 1. If we do it one more time, we'll reduce it down to negative. And I'm going to go ahead and we could play Nebula here, but we're not going to. I want to end with extra energy. So Cyclops triggers, Hulk triggers. They have a Luke Cage. Oh, Lucas Cage. Oh, no. That is unfortunate. Okay. Is it though? I mean, it probably. I could be lying to myself. We get a 19 power Hulk. +1, so we're getting 20 power here. That brings us to 22. They don't have any continual effects. So we're going to lose this one by 2. We win this one by much more than that. If they have a Jeff that they play into Sanctum Sanctorum, then they got us. Then they got us, boys. We're going to lock this one in. I think we're okay. Okay. The Hulk scared me for a second, showing that he was coming down at an 11 power. I had a mini heart attack. We will take the 4 cubes, courtesy of the lockdown style. Otherwise, I think this one had us hands down. They had us higher in tempo. They had higher impact plays, but we were able to restrict where and how they could play those, and so we were able to come out on top. All right, next up we have Maction Man. The first location is Grand Central. We have our Wasp to negatively impact some cards. I'm thinking Abomination is going to be a little bit too clunky in most cases. Ooh, we get Project Pegasus. So let's go ahead and we might as well do a Nebula and a Professor X lock. That's going to give us the ability to continue to grow over time. Since we have Initiative Wasp, I don't think is going to be fantastic, but I do like the idea of having that ability to grow that power in that right lane with our Professor X lock, and then all we have to do is focus on one additional lane, and then the Spider-Man lock component should be fine. So they snapped. What kind of... Oh, do they have a Galactus deck? Are you going to Galact me? I would galactically appreciate it if you wouldn't. Okay, so we get the lock. Shocker. Okay, that's... oh, so they're going to go with the Moon Girl, the Flood style, which I think if Wave and if Restriction style decks were not a thing, I think that would be the style that has the most potential. You're going to be able to flood so much power on the board on the last turn that it just gets so incredibly wild, so incredibly quickly. But by being able to restrict where and how and what you can really play, I think we get some of that advantage back. So let's go ahead and I'm going to storm the Grand Central location. I don't want anything to pull. Next turn, we might just do Spider-Man into Project Pegasus, because I assume that they're going to be flooding quite a few high-power cards. I assume that they're going to put cards into the Grand Central, rather. Now, with the Hulk there, I don't know, maybe not. That is a massive Hulk, my good sir. Let's go with Spider-Man. I don't think they're going to wave, so I'm just going to go Spider-Man here. That's going to restrict them from playing on the last turn. We can then do Hulk plus Wasp to get that surprise factor, that surprise a little bit extra value in the Project Pegasus lane. And up to this point, we haven't played any of our High Evolutionary cards, so they don't know for sure that we have High Evolutionary. They do have Sunspot, so they're going to gain an extra 6, but I anticipate a retreat coming down here. Just the lockdown style, if you have the ability to go incredibly tall, which for me, the biggest thing with this style, with this package, the Storm, Spider-Man, Professor X, Nebula package, the biggest downside on the last turn was having at most like a 12 power Gamora. Now we have a massive Infinite that we can just throw on the board while still being incredibly restrictive. I think this is so scary in terms of just what it can do and that reach that it has. So let's go ahead and, okay. We were going to throw down the massive Hulk, but that's okay. I understand. I understand, my friend. So this is for me, this is such an upgrade to the control style, at least early on. At least while everyone else is running High Evolutionary and testing out different packages, this one feels the most solid to me right now. And so we are going to go ahead and take that one, and that is where we're going to go ahead and end the video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to give it a like and a comment down below. And as always, this has been TLSG. Later, guys.